It was at this moment that he knew.
YouTube, what is the word, man? It is your boy Los the Barber back with another video. And y'all can see my boy Elijah hit me up, said he wanted to do the big chop. See, I already know I'm finna get him right, man. Y'all already know I am finna do my thing. So right now I'm just starting off by cutting all those locks off. And he expressed to me that he wanted to keep an afro. He didn't want to go wavelength or anything. So I'm using my shears right now because I knew those would be the most precise. I want to make sure I cut just a little above that new growth just so I can preserve as much hair as I possibly can. And you guys will see once I start detangling and picking it out, it'll all make sense. Because even though it may look like his locks are still there, trust me, that hair will come out apart very easily once you start picking at it. I really wish I would have been able to wash his hair after I cut his locks off, because you can see it's a little product build up and just all that stuff in there from his locks that would that's kind of prohibited me the cut a little bit, just because his hair's a little bit dirty. And if I would have washed it, it would have been a lot better. But unfortunately, I couldn't do it. But that doesn't matter. I'm still gonna do my best on this cut. I'm still gonna do a great job on this cut. So now once I feel all his locks are cut off, and now I'm gonna start picking at his hair, trying to just get all those matted areas and all those places that are still kind of locked. Just make sure it's all just his hair. Make sure it's all just straight and nice for me to that my guards will be able to fit through it and go through it very nicely. And now, once I felt all that hair was picked out and easy to come through, I'm going to come in with my 6 guard and I'm going to go with the grain. Like I said, I'm just trying to make all that hair even, because he said he wanted to keep an afro. So I want to keep that afro as long as possible, but also make sure it's even and make sure it's not looking crazy. So I'm going to just go all around the hair, make sure all of that hair is down to the desired length. And we're going to be doing a mid taper. So I'm going to set my guideline at the top of the ear and I'm going to curve it a little bit. And you guys will see why once I start fading. And in the back, I'm going to set my guideline at the bottom of the ear. And this is going to ensure that my taper is not too low, but it also isn't too high. So now to start my fading process, I'm going to start with my no guard open. And I'm going to just go up kind of a 1/2 inch, and I'm curving my guidelines because I want that C cup to pop and I want that blend to pop as well too. I don't want it to look like a regular blend. I want it to look like something that I kind of do on my own, because everyone fades differently, and this is what I like to do for my mid tapers. Then I'm coming in with that 1 guard all the way open. I'm gonna do the same exact thing. And when working with tapers, you don't have that much space to work with, so you got to make everything count. So as you guys can see, I'm just kind of flicking at that line. I'm not really setting anything really too harsh. And then I'm gonna come in with that 1.5. And really what we're doing with the 1.5 is we're just blending that fade into the afro. Because I don't want his haircut to be just a fade and then the afro. I want it all to blend nicely. I want it all to come together, and I want it to all look like one haircut instead of that fade being disconnected. I want to make sure it just all blends well and nicely. Guys, you want to utilize both corners of your blade. You don't want to be defined to one angle. If you use both sides of your blade, you'll be able to reach more spots and your blends will come out a lot better because you can do this. Then I'm gonna come in with my 0.5 halfway, and I'm gonna close it as needed. And this is basically the same thing as me coming in with the one closed. You can do the same thing with the 0.5 all the way open. You're just thinning out that hair, so you make sure you don't bald any of that hair. Make sure none of that hair is thinner. You just want to make sure it all blends nicely into that 1.5, and so that 1.5 blends nicely into the length on top. Then I'm gonna take my no guard off fully closed, and I'm just tapping at that bottom line. I'm not trying to blend anything at all with this step right here. I'm just simply trying to take that bald trimmer line out so I can set it up for my no guard halfway and no guard fully open, and make sure that all blends nicely into the length on top. Now I'm just detailing as I see. I'm closing it if I need to. I'm opening it if I need to. This will really set you apart, detailing as you go, because although you'll detail at the end, just detail as you see, because it might be some things that you won't see when you get done with that haircut. So just detail it now, and then you can always detail later. You can never detail too much. And now on this side, I'm gonna just speed it up because I'm doing the same exact thing, guys. You wanna make sure you're memorizing your step, memorizing your guideline width, memorizing every guard that you use. You don't wanna be guessing in this haircut. It should all be the same, because you wanna make sure it's symmetrical to the other side, and you wanna make sure both of those sides come out looking good, because if you do something differently on this side, then it might patch them, or it might take that fade up higher than you would want to. So just make sure you're doing the same exact steps for both sides, and you'll continue to see a consistent result throughout all your haircuts. Now we're gonna start in the back, and we're gonna start with our no guard open, and we're gonna go up an inch in the back because we have a lot more room to work with. And you guys want to make sure these guidelines are being set in nicely. It's gonna make your job a whole lot better once you start down fading. Then I'm put my one guard on there. I'm gonna do the same exact thing. And as you guys can see, I'm really using my wrist motion, really flicking out with that clipper. I'm exaggerating it because I want all that to blend nicely into that length on top. Now I have the 1.5 on there, and I'm doing the same exact thing. I'm really utilizing that flick out motion because I don't want this to be a chili bowl. I don't want it to just be fade and hair. Like I said before, I want it all to blend in nicely. And as you guys can see, I'm kind of like shaping the shape of that afro that I want already with this 1.5. I'm really utilizing that flick out motion, utilizing my wrist, and letting the clipper do its own work, and just so I can get that result that I want. Now we got the 1.5 closed, and we're just doing some detail work, trying to knock out that bulk that we see right under it. And you guys can see he has a dent in the back of his head. So although it's gonna appear darker than the rest of the hair, I promise you it's not. Just go through your steps like you would on a normal canvas, and that fade will start to blend, I promise you. Now we're coming in with the lever fully closed, no guard, and we're shaping that afro even more. Trying to get it nice and symmetrical, making sure his head, this taper in the back and this afro fits the shape of his head. Then we're gonna put our 0.5 on there, fully closed, and you can open it as needed, you can close it as needed, do whatever you need to make sure this blend comes in nicely. And now we're just utilizing our flick out motion. We're not doing the same thing we were doing when we're setting in guidelines, because we're not trying to set another guideline. We're just simply trying to thin that hair out, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're using that like that's why we're using the corner of our blades, so we can make sure we don't set any guidelines. We're just simply thinning out that hair. Then we're gonna have our no guard fully closed, and we're just flicking up at that bottom line. Like I said, we're not trying to blend anything. We're just simply knocking out that trimmer line that we set. And once you guys get this step down, it's gonna make your fade a whole lot better, because you don't really want to take that no guard close all further up or to that 1.5 open, because you're just gonna end up taking that fade up higher, because the 0.5 is so close, it's basically gonna cut them bald. So you're not trying to blend anything out with this. You're just simply trying to make sure that transition comes in nicely to the no guard halfway open. That's what we have here, and we'll open it as needed, and we're just detailing, trying to get that blend to come together nicely. And as you guys can see, it's coming together nicely. I was worried before because it looked like I cut them a little bit thinner with that 1 guard, but as you guys can see, as I'm starting to detail, that thing is coming together very well. And especially, this is just the frame out work for that line, because once I put that line on there, everything's gonna come together and you're gonna see everything very well. So just make sure you're taking your time, make sure you're developing your eye. If you're cold, people gonna wait for you regardless, so don't really worry about time, especially if you're in school like I am. And now we're gonna start our lineup prep. I put alcohol all over the head, and then I hit it with the holding spray, followed with the blow dryer, and then we're just gonna start aligning. I sped this part up because this is self-explanatory as well. You want to make sure you're not curving that line in too much to where it's like a V shape, but also you want to make sure you're not making it too natural to where the point it looks like he doesn't have a haircut at all. So I'm just going over that line multiple times, making sure it's all that hair gets cut, because he has an afro and some of that hair is longer than others. So make sure you just keep brushing it and it'll come out how you want it to come out. And I sped the line up as well too. Guys, you need to do anything you need to do to get that line straight. Obviously you don't want to push somebody back, but you want to do whatever you need to do to get that line straight, because this isn't going to come easy. You're not going to just come out the gate just having lines like 360 Jeezy. You want to make sure you're taking your time, making sure you're going over it multiple times. Look up, take a step back if you need to. That client is going to really appreciate that, because most people, when they look at their haircuts, they only look at their line and the size of their head. So that's really the most important thing. That front part of the hair is most important. So that line is really important. I take 10 to 15 minutes right now just on the line, if I'm being completely honest, because I know my fades will get better with time as I develop more techniques and get more comfortable with my developing my barber eye. So I make sure that line is spot on. Like you can see, I turn up towards the mirror. I'm looking in the mirror, making sure that line is not leaning or anything, and I keep going over it multiple times. And I'm not embarrassed about taking that long on the line at all, because when my lines come out crispy most of the time. So I'm really happy that I just take my time on that part. And then we're gonna line up those C cups, making sure they're symmetrical on both sides, and we're using his sideburns as a guide, and then we're just gonna curve it. Then we're gonna do some detail work with that razor, make sure there's no stubble on there, making sure that line is as crispy as possible. As y'all can see, this haircut is coming together very nicely. That blend is blending, that line is lining. Y'all can see my boy came in sad, man. He is not ready to cut off them locks, but I had to do it to him. I just had to do it to him. It was no going back when he told me he wanted to cut him. So you already know when he sat down in my chair, what's up. Man, this is the final product. YouTube, y'all let me know how I did in the comments, man. If y'all are enjoying these videos, I'm enjoying them too. So y'all hit that like, subscribe, man, share it with your friends if you want to. But it's your boy, Los the Barber, and I'm out. I'll see y'all on the next one. I'll see y'all next week. Let's go.
Now, I swear I got you, that's forever, I'm gonna stand down. And I'ma prove it to the others, I'm a beast, I'm a dog, I'm a goblin.